Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Laura Sturm.
Welcome to episode 243. How are you, Josh Rohr?
I am dandy again. How are you?
Dandy. Gosh, golly gee, I'm super.
So, speaking of dandy, Jim Battenfield, I'm going to just throw his business out there. He texted me. That's what you get. Anything you text me, it's going public on the podcast. Oh. But he said that he was going to see how many times at collegiate nationals when he was working. He said he was going to see how many times he could use the word dandy. And the latest
ode to you, like because you used the word dandy.
Yeah, he just. I don't know. I wouldn't call it an ode to me. It's more of probably using it to make fun of me. But I'm trying to find where he sent me this because it was pretty good. Shit. Oh, maybe he texted me. Ah, jeez. There's so many ways to communicate. Yes, he texted me. So it was actually a text, not an Instagram message. All right. So out of nowhere, he texted me and says, I've used dandy no less than 7 times. There's still deadlift and 4 sessions to go. Stay tuned. So then I said, nice. Report back and I'll announce the total. And he wrote back, the most important total of collegiates. Anyway, he texted me on Monday. And said the Monday after collegiates and says the total has to be somewhere north of 30 because then it became a bit once I let a few people in. In other words, Dandy said we are so back. So thank you, Jim Battenfield, for that.
That is amazing.
I'm not sure whether to be proud or embarrassed that I'm proud. Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Who are we kidding? Who are we kidding?
As a fellow awkward person, I mean, if you work dandy into conversation just for fun, you're one of us. It's okay.
Yeah.
And have you ever heard the word bibliophile?
No.
Someone who is really into words.
Word whore.
A word whore. Yes. There you go. So maybe Jim Battenfield's a word whore.
Could be.
I mean, who knows? Yeah. So, wow. We always go there.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So I announced it last week, but just because you weren't here, I'll let you know since you always seem to miss announcements. Greg Page was diagnosed with cancer. He was working high school nationals and basically had to get taken to the emergency room and spent a couple weeks in Texas at the hospital, and then got flown to Cleveland here recently. So he's back in Cleveland, Ohio. But it's a CaringBridge website that basically you can, the family or Greg posts updates there, just to how he's doing and stuff like that. And there's a link to a GoFundMe because obviously this came out of nowhere. So those links are in every episode description.
Until he doesn't need it anymore.
Until he doesn't need it anymore, yeah.
Yep.
So you can find those there if anybody's able to donate or just wants to keep up with Greg.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But anyway, talked about that last week. Just wanted to bring you up to speed since you're always not even getting the updates from our own podcast.
I'm not, and I'm gonna go to that GoFundMe, and because getting diagnosed with cancer, it just, especially like with short. Like out of the blue like that. I mean, nobody ever is like, oh, hey, I expected that. But like it disrupts your life in so many ways that you're like, oh no, insurance covers everything. Well, no, it doesn't cover lost work. It doesn't cover most of the copays. It doesn't cover, the things that aren't covered, the special food, the change in your lifestyle. It's just, there's a lot. And I've seen people go through it and like really, it's not right. It's not right. Just
Agreed.
Damn it. It's not right.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, definitely keep Greg in your thoughts and prayers, and we'll kind of, if we hear anything, we'll update our listeners as well. But um, yeah, anyway, so I guess weird transition, but on the note of high school nationals, they have announced the location for 2027. So 2027 high school nationals will be at the Albany Capitol Center in Albany, New York. So that'll be March 18th through 21st. So high school lifters, that's where it'll be? Question mark?
No,
Awkward end of the announcement.
that's where it will be! Exclamation point.
That's where it'll be. Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of awkward, forgot about this. I went to a pickleball party Thursday night. Basically, a bunch of people from the gym. So there's two. Well, all the YMCA's have pickleball, but there's a Decatur location, and not too far away is a East Lake location. I always play at Decatur because it's right next door. You good? You got to go somewhere.
No, I'm good.
You just don't care what I have to say, so you're tuning out. Got it. So the East Lake location is, it's about 15 minutes away, but a lot of people play there on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Long story short, I went there 2 weeks ago, first time ever, and there was a sign up for a potluck. One of the people was having a party, at the East Lake location, and there was like a couple people I knew there that also play at Decatur. Long story short, the one lady's like, "Yeah, sign up. It'd be a good chance to meet people." All right, great. So I signed up, and I went, and I show up, and I don't know a single person, including the person hosting. And I knew that going in. I'm like, whatever. I'm awkward enough. I can make it work. So after a little while, I ran into somebody I knew. And then I'm like, so who's the host here? Because I don't know who the host is. And they're like, oh, it's the lady out on the deck in the pink shirt. I'm like, so fun fact about me, I'm colorblind and I don't know who you're talking about. So that started a whole conversation. Long story short, went out on the deck, introduced myself. Turns out I did know this person. I played with them one time, just didn't know the name. So that was kind of cool. But that was kind of my punchline. Like every time there was an awkward pause or anything like that, I announced that it was an awkward pause and walked away. Like, all right, it's awkward now. I'm gonna go get more food, and I made like 5 different trips to the food line. So by the end, everybody's like, by the end, not everybody, but yeah. By the end, one person's like, "Hey, go be awkward," and then walked away. Like, I don't even know you. I love it.
Hey, as long as they're going with it, that's really
Yeah. So, and the best part was I was by far the youngest one there, probably by 20 years. And twice somebody asked if I was the person standing next to me's son. Twice that happened. Like, no, I'm just some random guy that wasn't really invited, but kind of just invited himself.
Yeah, and
Hey.
I am really bad at pickleball, and I figured I'd come here to meet y'all so I can like develop secret strategies to get in your head so that I can beat you at pickleball.
Exactly. That was
I knew it.
That was the only reason I was there, scouting.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Nice.
that was also not something I was going to mention, but I thought of it, so I said it. It's kind of how I work. Let's see. So this episode is the first episode we recorded on a Friday. We normally record on Tuesday. So this won't actually be released until Wednesday the 22nd, and we're recording on Friday the 17th. That means that as we're recording this, we have lifters competing this weekend, aka tomorrow, but by the time this comes out, it's going to be after the meet's over. So we're kind of going to do a preview, even though by the time this comes out, it's going to be over and we could be doing results. So I'll say this, I don't like recording on Fridays for that very reason, but I have no other option right now. So there's that.
Sorry.
That's not your fault. I have swim lessons Monday through Thursday for the kids.
Yeah. Okay. Because I thought it was me.
Oh, it is you. It's your fault.
Oh, totally.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. It's my fault. So like we could for these lifters that are lifting, we could be like, okay, hey, congratulations, John Lamp, for competing in the USAPL Classic City Clash in Watkinsville, Georgia, aka Athens, and doing so well. And then we just don't know what the knowing so well part is.
Yeah. True. And then also having done well this past weekend, Greg Simpson competing at the USPA Iron Beast 2 in Gainesville, Georgia. So those two guys are lifting. I don't know. I honestly, man, I kind of don't think that was the right thing to do. We may have just put bad juju on both of them.
Oh, well, we were incredibly vague. It just leaves everything up to interpretation, really.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
doing good is
that.
just, up to perspective.
I can roll with that.
Yeah, I mean, who am I to say what's good and bad?
Laura,
Yeah, no, that one.
you're Laura.
I'm just some bitch.
Okay. So, all right.
Okay.
Moving on.
That was awkward.
Awkward transition. There's a club coach certification course happening in Washington, D.C. The registration deadline is coming up for that. The registration deadline is, what is for? April. January, February, March,
yes.
April 30th is the deadline to register for that course. It's being taught by Ryan Gleason, and you can find the registration information at coaching.usapowerlifting.com. If you plan to coach at IDFPA Worlds this year, you must be a club level coach or higher. So if you are not one and you plan to coach or have a friend lifting and you want to coach, like make sure you get signed up for one of those courses because that will be a requirement to be able to coach at Worlds for U.S. lifters. That doesn't apply for other countries. That's going to be a USA powerlifting rule.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Well, and I guess you can't make other people get certified in USA powerlifting if they're from another country.
I mean, the IDFPA could, and we could have when it was like USAPL Australia and all that. But now that there's an IDFPA separate organization, that's up to them. If they're going to have a requirement, which to my knowledge they do not have a requirement. That's just a standard that USA Powerlifting is going to enforce for USAPL coaches and lifters, which is what they did at back in the name unmentioned. Redacted. I'll mute that out so your lips will just move. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So the National Governing Board of USAPL is coming up.
Yep. I think it's June 9th at no, not June 9th. June 15th. June 15th is the National Governing Body meeting.
And so at that meeting, the NGB, there are awards that are awarded. Wow, that's really hard. So right now you can nominate someone for one of these honorary awards. The deadline is May 2nd. So
that's coming up. By the time this comes out, it'll be like a week and a half left to register. So there's to nominate. That's what I meant. Yeah, words. Word horror. All right, the things you can nominate people for: Brother Bennett Award, the Male Athlete of the Year, Female Athlete of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Referee of the Year. So those are all great ways to kind of honor people that have given back to the sport, or as a lifter that have had like really great performances. So if you have anybody in mind for that, definitely you can check that out at usapowerlifting.com. Shocking, right? There on the news feed, you can find the NGB notice and find the links to do that. Also, May 2nd deadline to submit committee reports. So if you're a committee chair, you got till May 2nd to turn that in.
Awesome. So I see something on here about committee reports.
Did I literally not just say that?
Oh, I thought you were still talking about the nominations.
You totally. All right. Objectively, you don't give a shit about what I'm saying today. You just like
my brain is scrambled, Josh. I gotta say, when I start work on Monday, I feel like by the time I get to Friday, I've been sprinting the entire week.
Yeah.
So, and I recently got an actual diagnosis, which wasn't really a surprise because probably everybody has it for ADHD. So I'm noticing behaviors now that I'm like, oh. Okay, I just did it. I squirreled.
I love it, but that's what makes it entertaining. Like I feel like that's an asset, especially on a podcast. because
So,
that brings more authenticity to random
mm,
shit that we talk about.
yeah, there you go. Woo! Yeah.
Mm.
So now, I mean, it kind of makes sense now because there's been so many times I have like 3 emails like started but not sent, and then I'm like doing this, and I've got this, and then I forget to do something, and like I was like, yeah, okay, having that actual diagnosis made sense, but it's this whole thing, that neurodivergency. Who knew?
Oh, I'm sure I have something
Oh yeah, you
along those lines. I mean, I don't think that's a big secret, but
Oh, yeah, it kind of makes me wonder if there's really such thing as neurodivergent anymore. Because if we're all divergent, if we're all like exactly different, then there's no really divergent. But like during the test, okay, so this is the test I took. It was on a laptop screen, and it's called the TOVO test, I think it is, something like that. So there's a screen, and there's a box on the screen, and there's a black box in the middle of the white box. And if that black box is at the top of the white box, you click a little button that, you've got a little like buzzer. You know, if it's in any other place of the box, you don't do it, right? So you're just paying attention or trying to pay attention for 20 years. 20 years. It felt like 20 years, 20 minutes, looking at the screen and just clicking the button when that black box is in the right place. And that's all you do for 20 minutes. And apparently I failed miserably. And I was just like, wait, so there are people that could actually like get them all right and respond in the same amount of time for all of them? Like, really? And I thought I was. Guess I wasn't. I don't know. But it is a common measurement. So there's my
is that a
answer.
test you can take online like for free?
You
I feel like
think?
somebody could like make a website that does that. Or there probably is one out there that's like totally not accurate. It's just
Yeah.
somebody's took that and went with it.
It's it had to be done in my doctor's office with someone watching me. It was like a proctored thing,
So you can't cheat on your test that you
right?
fully are
Like,
taking.
I guess. I don't know. I wasn't really jiving with why somebody had to watch me because what am I going to do? Really? Cheat? Or, am I just going to like look over here and just click once in a while just so I can get the diagnosis or something? I don't know. But I looked it up. It is a valid test. It is like one of the industry standard tests. So go figure.
Hmm,
But
that's so crazy. Now I
yeah,
want to.
now
So
you want to know. You want to know, don't you?
I want to know. Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
gonna try to find
Yeah,
it or find
there's
the
also
black market version of it.
there's also tests online for sure for like seeing if you're on the spectrum for autism, and how far you might be on that spectrum and testing for that. And there's definitely an overlap between those two things. Yeah. And there's also crazy overlaps with ADHD and autism with addiction problems, which is now called substance use disorder, which, a lot of people with ADHD and autism fall into. So there you go. Now you know.
Well, that was a nice detour there.
See, that's what I do
Yeah.
because I got ADHD. I go deep.
Confirmed.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I feel like that was
So,
just a natural pivot that we would do any other time, anywhere.
uh,
So,
pretty much, but now you know why.
yeah. Right.
Oh gosh. So I've been wanting to ask you, like, are there any podcasts that you listen to that, as a podcaster, you're like, man, we should do things more like that, or that you just like to listen to because you like them?
Um, yeah, there for a while I was listening to Two White Lights. It's also a powerlifting podcast, but I kind of like their episodes are like an hour and a half minimum usually.
Mm.
And then they started kind of being a little inconsistent with their episodes, and then some of them went to a different organization, so I kind of lost interest in listening. I'm trying to think. There's a couple like uh, I don't know. Consistently, no. I do listen to Gary V stuff. I like some of
Mm.
his stuff.
Yeah.
Just, you know,
So
I don't know.
I've
Not
started
really. My
listening.
answer is not really. Not
Not
really.
really. So there's two that I listen to pretty consistently nowadays. Like I have a lot of true crime podcasts I listen to, but there's one that I stumbled on. Have you ever watched Drunk History
Yes.
on YouTube? Okay. So not quite to that extreme, but there's a podcast called Historically High. And there's these two guys that are like, they dive into history topics and research them very thoroughly. They are not historians. They're just two guys that research a lot and then can talk to things really well, and have like a lot of impromptu conversations. But the entire time that they're podcasting, you could hear them smoking a bong in the background, which is a riot. And sometimes they're very funny in that drunken history type of way, like, and they explain history in such a like down to earth way, like, hey, George Washington, he was like, so like kind of like more modern talk about how it was and like some of the things that went into it. Super good podcast. Loving it.
Historically
And
high.
Historically high.
So do
And
they ever, here I go. Do they
Yeah, go ahead.
ever admit that they're high as they do it, or is it just implied with the noise in the background that you can hear them doing it and the title of the podcast kind of implies, or do they flat out say, "Hey, we're high AF right now"?
They don't generally say they're high as fuck or anything, but the funny thing is when I first started listening to it, I didn't get it that it was just historically high and it had to do with getting high as they were talking about history. Didn't get it whatsoever until I was like, what's that noise that keeps happening in the background? And then I was like, oh, yeah, a little daft, but it's funny. And some of the times they do talk about substances and, like, oh, hey, I did this and I, was a little high when I did this. And so it didn't go the way I thought it was gonna or whatever. But for two guys that are high the whole time, they talk really well about this history stuff.
Better than us.
Episodes, oh, way, way, way better. They speak really well. And they do this thing where they start an episode where they talk like they're having a conversation about something. You don't even know what. And like the beginning of the podcast just kind of like joins their conversation in the middle of the conversation. So you're half the time you're sitting there going, what? And then they kind of like work the conversation around the topic. So if you didn't even know what the topic was, if it wasn't in the podcast title, you'd be like, what the fuck are they talking about? And then they finally go, oh yeah, this week we're talking about, the Battle of Dundee or Dunedin or whatever that is called. But I really recommend the one on Hercules labors, the labors of Hercules, and the one that's on the American Revolutionary War, and the one on Lady Di was really good. But they've got a lot of episodes.
How long are they?
They are anywhere from half an hour to 3 hours. Just
Ooh,
depends
okay.
on the topic. And I use them to go to sleep too, but then I actually listen to them again later because their voices are so kind of calming. They help me pass out.
Because they're high. Everything's just like
I guess.
monotone.
I guess.
Like,
Well,
yeah,
and they don't have a lot of commercial breaks. I hate when you're into a podcast and you're about to fall asleep and then the sound level changes completely.
yeah,
And
that's
hey, we don't have commercial breaks.
yeah, it's true. We don't.
Yeah. But they're just starting to get commercials now on that podcast. So
Yeah.
whatever.
I just
and
hear
then
I just hear in my head, I just hear Cheech and Chong giving history lessons is what I'm hearing right now in
basically,
my mind.
yes, basically. And Cheech and Chong are actually really smart guys, I think. And
I
then
like
there's
that.
one on secular Buddhism that I've been listening to, which is, yeah, my new hippie
Interesting.
vibe.
Nice.
It's really good. And it's got like 10 years worth of podcasts. Super
What has
good,
10
mind-blowing
years?
stuff. The secular Buddhism podcast.
Huh.
Super good.
10
Um,
years.
10 years, yeah. So Josh, that could be you and I in a few years. Like just we're
What year
in
did we start?
six.
I know.
Aren't
I
we
know.
in six?
Are we?
We're
I
in
don't
6
remember.
years
I know,
now. What the?
wow, that's crazy.
I think so. We started in COVID.
Yeah, I can't remember. I
So
can look it up. I know we've talked
yeah.
about it before, but I can't remember what I did this morning. So
Of course you can.
yeah.
So the powerlifting and power ballads part gonna come back. That power ballads part.
Yeah, there's been a few comments here and there recently about not doing anything music
Music.
related, and I'm just like, you know what?
All right, all right.
Shut up. I don't care about that. Wait, yes, I do. Here we go.
Well, you know what? One of the things in ADHD types is that you're motivated to do things sometimes out of, ways that wouldn't motivate other people, like spite
Yeah. Oh,
or yeah, yeah.
I've definitely. So speaking of
Hey,
spite, speaking of
I
spite,
hate you.
let's take this exit here.
Okay.
Uh, back to pickleball. So I went actually the day that I went to that East Lake location. One of the guys, I wasn't sure it was somebody that I play with, but I thought it was. But they parked basically their driver's side front wheel was in across the line, basically. And there was all kinds of other open spots. Well, I pulled right into the parking spot right next to him, so he couldn't get in his driver's side. Again, wasn't sure it was him. Wasn't sure it was anybody. I had no idea actually. I didn't even have a clue who it was. I just assumed it was somebody I played with, but I was going to make sure that they knew it was me. So as we were leaving, well, I guess it kind of backfired on me a little bit because I ended up staying later because there was only like three other people that wanted to stay and play, and it takes four people, and everybody else that like rotates in left. So I forgot about this by this time. So if it was one of them, like they would have just been pissed and keyed my car or something. But it happened to be one of the four that was left. So as we're walking out, I see I see him. His name's Paul. I see him putting his bag in his trunk, and he's just kind of standing there, just kind of looking around. And I was walking out with another lady, and I'm like, "Hey, look, Paul's pissed right now." And she's like, "Why?" I go, "Because he parked over the line, and out of spite, I parked right next to him, so he couldn't get in his driver's side, even though there was all kinds of open parking spots everywhere else." So I finally walk out there, and I go, "Hey, Paul, you want me to let you in your car?" And he's like, "You're the one that did this."
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know
do you
how we
want to hear
got
something
there.
I did out of spite?
Yeah, I do.
So I went to a Mark Ripito seminar at one point.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I did
well,
too, though. I did too
yeah,
once.
right, right. So, we all made that mistake in some part of our life, and so it was before I was competing in powerlifting whatsoever. But it was because I was kind of interested in powerlifting, and competing in. And I had said to him, "Man, I'm interested in powerlifting. I think I could do well in it." And he said to me, "No, you're never going to compete powerlifting." Like, no.
And if anybody, I guess that's a good example. If anybody wants the kind of credibility that goes along with that, four-time world champion.
Four-time world champion.
Yeah, you should have never done that because you never.
Yeah,
Obviously, that
because
was a fluke.
Mark Ripito told me that I can't. And like seriously, that was kind
Yeah,
of a little
I'll
bit of
show you, you son
motivation.
of a bitch.
Show you, sucker. I'm gonna go out and spend all my money and time. Fuck you. I'm world champion, bitch. I'm gonna write him a letter now and be like, "You said I couldn't." I actually kind of forgot about that too. We talked about spite.
Now you're
Sorry.
all pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Clip all your videos of winning the world championships. Send it to him.
Yeah, remember me? And he's gonna be like, "No, actually, no idea who you are." Did I say that? I
I
don't even know.
spent
It was just like a
I spent 10 years proving you wrong.
right. I spent my life proving you wrong. And yeah. And I'm sure it was just an offhand comment that he made that I just was like, I latched into. And I'm like, oh, no,
That
he did not. Yeah.
like the more we sit here, the more mad that's making me because like it would be one thing. Let's just I probably shouldn't be saying what I'm about to say, but
Well, you're going to
like
say it anyway.
probably. So I guess my question is like, who has he produced? Like, what is his? I mean, yeah, he's got a huge following on social media. Like, and I think the concept is great, starting strength, getting people into lifting weights. But like, you are zero authority on anything high level powerlifting. Like,
Right.
where, yeah. So
Well,
I don't know.
I guess my thought is like, okay, if he just said that to me in an offhand way, how many people did he say that to? Like, Maybe I was the only one. Maybe. But maybe he said that to other people and they were like, ah, yeah, he's right. And they never did, right? If I had listened to him, I would never have competed and never have
You'd be
experienced all those wonderful things.
you'd be a much happier. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Much happier, less broken, and yeah, richer person financially. But I think it was a great experience. Like I wouldn't have traded that in. And so I don't know, it just kind of goes to show like maybe it's not the hey, do things out of spite, but maybe like just because somebody tells you something doesn't mean you have to listen to it. Even if they think they're a recognized authority, it's still your life, you know.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
man, that's so frustrating. Like, yeah, I don't know. Just either way, it bothers me. Like, even if it was a high level lifter or coach, like that would still bother me. But like, it really bothers me when it's like, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah. So anyway, back to the new music
yeah,
part.
yeah. Back to that.
Coming back. So
So,
I have a musical list I've been working on too.
oh yeah, well, so we don't have to do the one that I wrote down. If you have a better one or a different one, we can do that and save this one. Because I'm
Yeah.
excited about the one I wrote. So if you have another good one, let's do
Ooh.
that.
Okay, so here's my idea for the music list. My mother had surgery recently, right? So when I went to pick her up, I wanted to make sure I had a playlist of really uplifting, like happy songs, things that made me peppy. Like if I was in kind of a grumpy mood or just a meh mood, like things that if there's a song that you listen to where you can't be like, oh, I feel better, like put it on that list, right? So I came up with a playlist and I was playing that while I picked up my mom. She didn't really care about the music because, it was like Van Halen and some stuff that she would not probably find uplifting, but I did, and it put me in a better mood, and that might have helped her not be so gloom and doom. She's fine. She got through the first surgery. She's fine, by the way. Thanks for asking. See what I did there?
Squirrel!
But I started listening to this playlist like every morning because I found that if I listen to something really uplifting and like that type of music where you're like kind of like singing out loud and you're dancing and you're like into that song so much, like you feel it and you connect with it, you're like, ah. And I feel like I was thinking about the podcast because I'm like, that's kind of a little bit of like what that power ballads part is, like
Yeah,
that you connect to it so hard that you're like, oh, this is awesome. So like
we're going
my
with
idea
yours.
was the uplifting.
We're going with that. So I will say I love that. I also love mine, but let's not announce mine because
Okay.
we've gone long enough without doing this. We'll just do two back to back.
Okay. Deal. So
All right, so we're doing the top five uplifting motivational songs. Is that what we want to call them?
yeah, the happy songs, lift your mood. Yeah. Your pull yourself out of depression songs. I don't know. You're about to cry, but you listen to this and you feel better. Yeah, I don't know what to call it even. Because
Yeah,
it's
we'll
not
work the
like,
title, but
yeah, it's not because I'm happy. Like don't put that song in there or we will
yeah,
kick
you're
you
right.
out and block you. So
So
don't
uplifting
uplifting
songs,
songs
uplifting songs
that
that
lift your mood, make you happy. I don't know.
uplifting songs that diminish the amount of shame
Doom.
and
Yeah, yeah, shame, depression, and like uh okay, we should just
whatever. We got
yeah.
the
We got the
gist of it.
gist. We got the gist. Yeah,
We'll workshop the title.
yeah. And with our next in our next couple, I think we should have some people bring their songs because the person that we have coming on the podcast in a couple weeks from Powered by Transformation has a natural progression into kind of this subject as well. And I can kind of bridge into that when she's on. But, it's kind of like when you're connecting to music that hard, it changes your life. And like the whole Powered by Transformation thought is like when you connect with strength training so much, it changes you in more than just body strength. It changes your mind, and that bridges you into being able to deal with alcoholism or drug use and treatment through addiction and pulling yourself out of that better. which is what that organization's all about. So we'll talk about that on a future episode.
Yes. It was supposed to be today.
I blew it. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just letting people know because we said last week that
No.
we would have. Well,
Oh.
I said it because you
Oh.
weren't on last week either. But
Well,
anyway,
coming soon.
yes, it
Let's
is
be
coming
vague.
soon. We'll just keep dangling that carrot on a future episode.
Yeah.
Sometime.
And I would like to also kind of talk about like how I got involved with that organization and why.
So I don't really know this story. So let's definitely save that because
Yeah.
I'm genuinely interested. So I'll find out as we're talking about it too.
Deal. Okay. So when are we going to ask people to
Submit the songs.
to submit the songs?
The list will be in the bio of our Instagram when this episode comes out. So since we record on Friday, I have basically almost a whole week to get that put together. So if it's not out, that means that I was ADD and didn't get to it.
Or you're a busy dad, no
that too.
judging. So
Could be that.
and we'll give people a little bit of time to add their songs. And
Yeah,
then
we'll
we
give you a
can
couple
collate
weeks.
them
Yeah, it'll be live. It'll be live on Wednesday when the episode comes out, but we'll probably go a couple weeks until after the interview. That'll probably be
Yeah.
the deadline when that episode comes out.
Deal. And but I love going into Spotify, making a playlist, and it's a good little tool. Make yourself a playlist, uplifting songs.
So I think yes, agreed. Again, I'm off the reservation here. I'm already thinking about the voting for it. So we typically do the voting on Instagram stories and Facebook stories, but we have a group me now. So we're going to still do Instagram and Facebook, but we're also going to do the group me. So essentially people could vote 3 times, but you have to join our group me. You should also join our group me, Laura.
I clicked the link.
That kind of counts, I guess. I can
started
click links
to-
all day too, but
It was like, add this app to your, go to the App Store, and then I scroll. Yeah.
yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Well, so far nobody's really talking yet, but the goal is to get some of these discussions going and people can debate and actually have back and forth. Like just doing the polls on social media, you can vote, but you can't really have back and forth with other people. This would give us opportunity to kind of like defend your case per se. If we're not going to, well, I don't know though. I guess we could do that. We'll still keep it anonymous on social media, but people can make their case in the group me and say it's their list if they want to. But again, that requires them joining.
Right. And like, I don't know what song makes me happy. You might be like, that's a stupid song. Why would you put that in your list?
Yeah. There's some happy songs that just piss me off. Like Baby Shark. That song drives me crazy.
Yeah, don't put that in your list either. Anyone. I heard a heavy metal version of that. There's this guy on Instagram, he takes songs and a genre that shouldn't go together and mixes them, and they're really good. And he's a drummer, and he's got like a mixing thing going on, and vocals. It's really good. Like Baby Shark, heavy metal. It's good.
Nice.
I'll have to find it and send it to you. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all I've got for today.
All right. So that's all you got. That's all I got.
Cool.
Good talk. Don't forget to join our group me. The link's in our bio. Also, submit your top 5 uplifting songs that put you in a better mood. Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
What's the White Goodman from Dodgeball? He's like, if something about if you don't hate yourself enough to come to the gym and make change or something like that. So these are top 5 songs that that when you finally hate yourself enough to put together a playlist to make you feel better. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm grasping at straws. Let's get out of here.
You are grasping. Yes.
All right. It'll be in our link in our bio. Go
Playlist.
submit your songs. Yeah.
Top 5.
And also it's going to be a Google Doc, so you have to defend the reason for the song.
Yeah.
So
And
put
hey,
that in
if you
there,
want to share the list, share a link to your playlist, that'd be cool.
yes, you could do that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Good talk.
right.
We will catch you all next week. Later.
Bye now. Except as you say that, I'm like, I can't come next week. So we can just, all right. So good talk, Josh. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right. Yeah. Whenever. Later.
Nice.
And just a friendly reminder, if you are looking for science-based powerlifting programming, look no further than the Team Roar training app. You can find the link to it in the episode description, and also get 25% off of your first month using discount code, all capital, PL Ballads Podcast. Happy training.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.